How do you cope with being treated like you are crazy for following COVID safety guidelines, when others around you aren't doing the same? I work at a hospital, and go to COVID floors on a regular basis. It's more for your benefit than mine. It's true and unsurprisingly shuts up even the most ignorant of people. I'm a COVID ICU nurse. I find it funny when people say something like this. Then when I inform them of where I work, I suddenly have at least 6 feet all around me and people are staring at me in shock or horror. But, you do what you can to keep yourself and your family safe. Don't worry about the others. If they don't pay your bills or snuggle up to you at night, why does their opinion matter anyway? Very true. I hope you're being treated well at work. Edit, wow awards, thank you kind strangers. As well as can be during stuff like this. My unit has great teamwork and our administration is reasonable, so on that front it's good. Thank you. A friend of mine kept saying it was a hoax, overblown, no worse than the flu etc. He was hospitalized for a week and been out for almost a month now and still can't breathe right. Ask him if it's harder to breathe now or was it harder through the mask. Well, he wouldn't know since he didn't wear one in the first place. I'm the first to admit I was very dismissive of it at first. My boss stocked up on PPE, we had policies and procedures in place for when it reached us, and I just dismissed it as an overreaction. Then it reached the UK. Then it reached my town. Then I saw the numbers in the local mortuaries going up and suddenly all the PPE we wore to do removals didn't seem so silly anymore. I was pretty dismissive at first too. Then my parents, the least alarmist people I have ever met, these are people who would tell me to calm down, we don't need to make an evacuation plan whenever we had a bushfire nearby, even if the entire hill behind our house was on fire and we could hear the flames, started talking about having dad work from home and how mum was going to pick up a little extra of everything next time she went shopping. Needless to say, if those two get worried, I pay the attention. 2 weeks later everything was upside down and the streets were utterly deserted. Freaks me out to think about how quickly it escalated. Yeah, I think it is natural to not worry too much at first. My turning point was when my sister, a med student, messaged me saying she'd been looking at the data and she was concerned that her government wasn't acting decisively enough and the people weren't taking it seriously enough. She's doing her master's project in the infectious diseases ward, and so I felt confident trusting her assessment. Then I was like, okay, time for me to limit activities, and I stopped going to yoga etc. 2 weeks later the whole UK was under full lockdown. I don't know any disease experts, but I have a bunch of work acquaintances in China and was having to deal with the fallout when they all started going into lockdown. They were locking millions of people in their houses and rush building emergency hospitals while our people were on TV telling us not to worry, it's not that big of a deal. My kid was pulled out of preschool in mid-February because I was getting daily updates from my friends that were in the middle of it. I also have a trauma disorder that makes me hyper-vigilant against perceived threats, so being bat crap worked out in my favor this time lol. Fixed typo. Has he made any comments? Like apologies about saying it's a hoax? Of course not. Nurses are saying people on their deathbed still don't believe it's real. And as his lungs begin to fail, he draws his final breath and quietly says suck it libs. Not up, but chances are he even blamed them for not finding the real problem. Totally did not happen with one of my patients. I've done Thanksgiving for years. This year, it's my husband, me and my elderly mother minus the 8 to 10 more we usually have. Somehow, I'm the overreacting butthole for keeping my mother safe. Hoping it will make them appreciate once we can go back to me cooking like a crazy person, but I'm not holding my breath. My mom has been apologizing profusely because she's too scared to spend my son's first Thanksgiving with him. I don't know how many more ways I can tell her she shouldn't be sorry for wanting to keep him safe. Tell her he's a baby, he won't remember this Thanksgiving anyway. But he will remember all the future ones he's going to get to have with her because everyone stayed safe and healthy this year. I will tell her exactly this, thank you. And tell her thank you if you haven't yet, it's much more effective than it's okay in making somebody feel their choice is the right one. At least by being safe you'll have the ability to hold your breath. Keep on doing it. If anyone asks, just respond with listen, I don't tell you how to protect you and your family, don't start telling me how to protect mine. Most of the COVIDiots I run into are against it because they don't like being told how to live their lives, so use that mindset against them. I like this one. Listen. If I send you pictures of my cats, is that actually what you want? I embraced a long time ago that everyone else thinks I make no sense. When everyone else has no mask, and questions your sanity for why you're wearing one. That's when you show up with a full papper. Also, because if they're not being safe, they're a much bigger threat to you than you are to them. So the selfish filtration model is justified. What if you cough at them? Hey Frank, why you wearing that mask? I heard there was COVID, you see. What about you, Steve? Where's that mask of yours? I ain't wearing it, Frank. It's all a hoax, I tell you. Even if it ain't, there's no way it's getting to me. You're just paranoid as F, you see? No one wears a mask here really, Steve. I hold on, coughs like you choked on drugs, sorry. After I lost my sense of taste, my cough started to worsen, you were saying? And watch everyone stare at you in horror. Kind of similar scenario happened to a friend of mine. He lives in a shared apartment and one of his housemates didn't believe in the virus. It's all a hoax and it's just a common cold, etc., etc. Then one day, my friend got COVID from his girlfriend and was tested positive for it and coughing pretty badly. Suddenly the guy was all like, don't come near me. Stay in your room. People like that don't give a crap until it directly affects them, like children. They don't care about others, period. If the virus is a hoax, and it's all bullcrap manufactured by rich politicians so their businesses and stock portfolios could get crap canned, then worst case, you wear a mask for nothing but demonstrate you care for others enough to forego your pride and wear a mask. If it's not, then you are a perpetrator in killing and crippling 250,000 Americans cause you did not want to wear a mask. Exactly. Recently I was traveling in a bus and a man sitting beside me wasn't wearing a mask. And when I told him to wear it, he just points toward other people in the bus who aren't wearing a mask. I just told him I am not going to tell everyone, you are sitting beside me so I am telling you to wear it. He then puts on mask. Guess what? A man in my next to left seat also puts it on. Edit. Many people are doubting this happened and I don't know, go ahead. I don't want to prove this to everyone. I don't know why telling people to wear a mask is being doubtable. Man, I literally just had this conversation with my own father. Literally won't listen to logic. Problem is I live with him so it's hard to keep distance. In public I wear big over-ear headphones. At work when people say insane conspiracy crap I laugh at them. It's the only response I've found that shuts them up. I tried to explain and discuss the facts but once I realized that was never going to work I just started laughing at them. And I mean at them. You got to out-crazy them by coming up with a bigger conspiracy. Like if someone says the earth is flat, snort condescendingly, you believe the earth exists? Just last night someone said to me hospitals every year around the holidays are overflowing with flu patients, so how can it be COVID? I said you believe in the flu? They shut up real quick. Or if someone says masks are the government trying to control people, tell them the government put that out there so people can't stop them from using facial recognition technology using Ring and other security cameras. Fight conspiracy with conspiracy. Oh crap, my anti-government, anti-mask co-workers are going to love this. Damn, that's pretty clever. Somewhat by a lucky coincidence, I bought a mask many months before COVID became a thing because I would go to industry events and meetings and there were always signs saying they might film for advertising or promo material, etc. I didn't like that, or the fact that people sometimes just took pictures and I happened to be in them. So I started wearing a mask. Now I have a good reason and can feel more normal doing it. That is God. Damn. Genius. You believe birds are robots? Come back to me when you've seen a dinosaur painstakingly glue their feathers on. Oh, I'm not wearing a mask because of the fake disease. I'm wearing it because the government manufactured this pandemic narrative to get us to wear masks made out cloth that is laced with toxic chemicals that spread around like spores when we breathe out. The chemicals are meant to subdue us and make us more docile. Now that everyone's wearing this toxic cloth, the spores are all over the place. My mask is made of a material that's resistant to those chemicals. It's a special kind of cotton. I highly recommend making your own mask from cloth you have at home so you're safe from other people's mask spores. I used to work with a flat earther. One day he was explaining his ideas to a grandmother-aged woman I work with. She was quiet, heard him out and then just goes, "You seem hungry." It was so gentle and sweet but also told him though he was an idiot. I think about that moment a lot when I encounter COVID deniers. Laughter and humor is the best defense. That's how people were able to get the crazy Westboro Baptist Church to shut up and give up when rallying. I can't help but get angry and tongue-tied at stupid reasoning, so humor is a good tactic I should use. I work security and one of the businesses I cover is a movie theater that is doing everything they can to be safe. Mandatory mask or face covering, spaced out seating, immediately to your seat once you have concession items, sanitize after every showing, etc. With some recent increases to precautions, masks going from recommended to legally required indoors. They've had a bunch of conspiracy theorist types coming through their doors refusing the provided mask, pulling out a mask exemption card. They all tell you to go to the website for proof that it's real, but it just links to a far-right, Nazi-sympathizing, anti-immigration, racist crap-hole website that is almost always down because these dumb asses go to it too much and they are too cheap to upgrade their servers. Every single one says it's violating their civil rights to deny them service, demand to have the cops called. I oblige them and call the cops for their trespassing and then spend the 20 to 30 minutes waiting for them reading off the Wikipedia page for the website they got this card from. I explain that they are directly supporting Nazis by giving them ad revenue. I call them Nazis loud enough that other guests can hear us and talk over them so they can't spout more of their crap. Most walk off before the cops arrive. I tell them not to return even after this is all over because we don't welcome Nazis. One couple actually stayed until the cops got there and were promptly told their civil rights were not being violated and they were idiots and trespassing. I've had enough of these morons. If they don't want to wear a mask outside, whatever, they're right for now. But come into a business and they aren't going to get their way, they are just going to be banned because they are a much bigger threat than any shoplifter. I like this. One of my coworkers keeps trying to talk politics and I mostly ignore her because she's on the wrong side of history. However, right after the election she tried to bring up minimum wage and how kids out of high school will make almost as much money as us. I snorted and said, "As much money as you do maybe," and went back to work. I walked out of work. As the HR manager I had no choice. I was just so frustrated that my boss wasn't taking it seriously. This happened in April when we, South Africa, went into lockdown. He wouldn't provide masks, gloves, barriers etc. for the factory. Then insisted all the office workers stay. So I walked out. I carried on working from home and completed all my tasks. Got disciplinary action but he couldn't fire me. Months later things have finally changed. But I found another job. If that's how he treats staff's lives, he'll do it again. Tomorrow is my last day. So, protect yourself and your family first. And ignore the idiots. This pandemic is real. Good for you. I wish more would take a stand. Your life is more important than a job that doesn't care about you anyways. I just happily agree. Yup, I'm paranoid. Yup, we are all crazy. No, we still won't get together with you, because I'm so paranoid and crazy. And yes, I still wear a mask every time I go outside, because I'm so paranoid and crazy. The top priority in a pandemic is to survive it without getting sick. Period. Full stop. End of story. Let everyone else think what they think. Just do what you need to do to keep yourself safe. My dad was tested positive for COVID and got admitted in the hospital, but my mom still doesn't believe in COVID, mind you. She's well educated and privileged enough to not do that. Anyway, after 2 weeks, Dad's doing much better now. I always keep a picture of my mom in my wallet. Whenever I face difficulties in life, I take out my wallet and stare at her picture. And lately, it comforts me knowing that if my dad can survive COVID, and I can survive being a daughter of a staunch conspiracy theorist, I can survive almost anything. I'm very sorry about whatever the F her problem is. This comment should be on a sympathy card. Or worked out in cross-stitch. I just commissioned my cross-stitching friend to make this for me. Fantastic idea, thank you. It is always fascinating to me to hear about highly educated people who still fall in with conspiracy theories. But then I remember that intelligence doesn't always go hand in hand with common sense. There are people with doctorates out there who are telling the public they should go ahead and. He's a doctor. Why shouldn't we go see Grandma today? Very glad your dad is recovering. I dearly hope your mom sees the light someday. Web link. Dr. Scott Atlas is a comic book villain tier name. I hope your dad feels better soon. I choose to be paranoid about salmonella, so I overcook my chicken slightly. And wash my cutting board and hands after handling meat or eggs. I choose to be paranoid about becoming paralyzed, so I wear a seatbelt. I choose to be paranoid about brushing my teeth with fecal matter, so I close the toilet seat and put my brush behind a cabinet. I choose to be paranoid about frostbite, so I wear gloves in the winter. I choose to be paranoid about thugs, so I stay alert of my surroundings. I choose to be paranoid about STDs, so I wear a condom. I choose to be paranoid about people's motives, so I stay skeptical. I choose to be paranoid about alligators, so I don't go splashing around in the swamp. I choose to be paranoid about Lyme disease, so I check myself for ticks after I've been somewhere even remotely grassy. I choose to be paranoid about the rope holding, so I double check the knot before I climb. I choose to be paranoid about getting a heart attack or diabetes, so I eat healthy and exercise. You could say that I'm afraid, and going through all these hoops prevents me of living my life. But I say, I go through these hoops so I can live my life to the fullest, unafraid, for as long as possible, simply by protecting myself from ignorance and stupidity. The toothbrush thing doesn't work, by the way. Mythbusters did an experience with placing toothbrushes in different places in a bathroom, including a cupboard, then testing all of them afterwards. Fecal matter on all of them. And if it's in the air, you're breathing it in anyway, my dude. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.